What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It is October 21st, 3 p.m., and we've got a great show lined up for you. When it comes to the news, though, give me a second. I did not mute my own YouTube channel, so I'm getting this feedback in my ears, and it disrupted my entire intro.
Bruh.
Guys, in today's show, a lot of the news is a lot of crypto voices coming out of the woodwork, giving their opinion about the election coming in about 2 weeks. We hear more from Mark Cuban, but some interesting comments from him. Cannot wait to play that clip. We also see XRP and people from XRP going all out on the Kamala Harris train. Elon continues to campaign strongly for Donald Trump. But what is the biggest takeaway from all of this? Because this isn't a political channel. This is a crypto investing channel. No matter what happens, you crypto investors are going to win. If that excites you, make sure to smash the like button and hit subscribe right now. But first, we got to roll the intro. Mr. T Shroom, there you are. How you doing today?
Well, better than I deserve, Tim. I really am. I'm excited for today's show. We've got some good stuff to cover, some controversial stuff. So strap in, grow some thick skin, and let's get into it. Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Is my mic hot? I see username said, geez, Tim came out destroying eardrums. I didn't think I was that close to the mic. Do you guys prefer this right here? Is this a better place for my mouth to be?
Stop. You sound great.
I will try to. I'll keep some distance between the mic. My bad. Also, Pakistan, where is that comment? He said, "Tim without hat, newest meme coin on the market." Listen, Tim without hat for now, but Tim with hat probably coming very soon. I put a tweet out last night, T-shirt, and I said, I said, I have a feeling I'm gonna be wearing a hat this week. If you know, you know. A lot of people do know exactly what I meant. That I'm going to be putting on our beautiful looking Investing Bros hat when Bitcoin hits 70K. That being said, lots of likes. I think I'm coming up on 60 likes on that one. Lots of views. But most people are assuming it's going to be a MAGA hat. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for people. I'm not opposed to wearing a MAGA hat. I don't have a MAGA hat, and I'm not going to be wearing a MAGA hat on stream just because there's no really point there. That being said, I've been very vocal, especially over the last week, that I am fully endorsing Donald Trump, and there's a plethora of reasons why that we're not going to get into on this show. But if you want to learn more, I put some posts out on X. You can come ask me in one of our Q&As on Discord. But we're going to talk about, at the end of the day, maybe some people care. I'm about to say nobody cares about my endorsement. Some of you probably do care about my endorsement, but there's a lot of people that are way more powerful, way more famous, carry way more weight than me, who are dishing out their endorsements like it's hot cakes on a skillet right now. And we're going to cover some of that today. Why? Because it will have some direct impact on crypto, and people need to be prepared for it. But with that said, that the reason we're going there is because I don't know if you guys pay attention to the news. Not a lot of news happening today, right? We can look at some charts. We can look at things pulling back. If you guys have charts you specifically want to look at, I'm anticipating that today, T-Stream, we're going to have a plethora of Q&A time because the news is not very plentiful. I say that. We always have some great discussion. We end up filling up the whole show. But with that said, say all that to kind of preface the whole spot. Are you ready, T-Stream?
Well,
to dive into crypto content, or do you have anything else you want to say first?
Tim, the only thing is that Water Malone has got my mouth watering. He said, I'm off today and eating a dang good seafood boil while listening. And for those of you who don't know, in the United States, it might be called a seafood boil in other countries, but this is a seafood boil where you've got crawdads, you've got lobster, you got shrimp, and you've got all kinds of sausage as well. Got a little corn action going on too. Man, it is very popular down in the Bayou area, but it does get popular everywhere in the South where there's seafood restaurants especially. And here on the Space Coast, we love ourselves a good seafood boil. Tim, you ready to get into these charts?
Listen, anytime we're talking about seafood boil, you know that my mind immediately goes to the charts.
Yeah, that's right.
Is what happens. So let's do it. Let's take a look at the crypto charts. I lied. I don't I don't really ever talk about seafood boil, so it has nothing to do with my charts. A lot of red here today over the last 24 hours. Doesn't mean there's nothing in the green. We're going to take a look at least two of these. Both JASMY and Adam have been doing well over the last 24 hours. We're also going to take a look at Ondo not doing so hot. It's down 5.3. I see people in chat asking already for Arrow. It was one of the fringe coins that we talked about. Let's see when we get into the technical analysis spot how long it takes me to get through the first four. But if we have time there, we'll go into Arrow TA as well. If you guys have other coins you want to see, drop them in. I might be able to see them, might be able to get into them. But with that said, a lot of red here today. Biggest one is Hex. Tia's not doing so hot. Ondo, as I said, is not doing so hot. Arrow's not doing so hot. The good news is they're only down like 8 to 5%. Whiff is also down, by the way, 6.2%. You guys couldn't see that one. Not significantly down, but definitely cooling off. Is this a problem for the crypto space? Not at all, in my personal opinion. Just in case anyone is newer to how markets move and how bull markets work or bear markets work, every time people see red candles or red bubbles like this, they get a little discouraged saying, does that mean the top is in? Does that mean it's over? And that's just not the case. Every healthy bull market also has healthy corrections. If it was nothing but upward trajectory, that would surprise me very much so. That I've never seen it in the history of markets whatsoever. You might see a sustained period of time, like an hour or 2 hours, or occasionally there's like 2 or 3 days in a row where it seems like there was no negative activity. But it's very rare to sustain long-term uptrends without occasional pullbacks. And honestly, the place that we did it is not that crazy. If you go over to my screen here, T-Shroom, let's dive into the technical analysis here today. A lot of this is going to be repeat. If you guys have been watching, we talked about this a lot, but I want to make sure we clarify this for everyone who's maybe newer to this space. What we've done here recently over the last couple of days, breaking above not just the flat level of 67,800, but the fact that we closed multiple daily candles above this red line, descending resistance level from the highs we had back in March of 2024. This is a major move to the upside. Now, it's not uncommon whatsoever when you break resistance to come back and tap those levels as support. Well, it turns out we went a little bit lower than that, and there's a chance that there may be even a little lower coming. But this morning, if you watch the show, live on the show, we said we're going to drop back down at least to this red line, if not below $67,000. Turns out after 20 minutes of being live, Bitcoin began to do just that. As you come to lower time frames, you can see here, we have dropped back down temporarily below this blue line. But when you start to move into some indicators that we have from Luxalgo, which have been crushing the trading game recently, if you want to look into Luxalgo, there's links down below. It gives you such amazing levels of support and resistance and tells you about how the strength will move. We told you guys, keep an eye out to come back down into this smart trail right below 67,000, where there was a whole plethora. Is this going to load for me? Oh, man. We had to restart my computer. So this is going to be – all right, we're good. I think we're good. We took out a lot of liquidity back in here. This is all from this morning. We told you guys these levels between 67.9 all the way down here to 67 would be interesting long liquidation levels to keep an eye on. You clear those out, and then you can start talking about moving to the upside. What people should be aware of, and I'm not saying we have to drop down this far, it's just something that now is back on the table. You can see that in the last couple of hours, as we dropped here and cleared out the $67,000 liquidation level, we began to build up more longs. Well, all longs have liquidity points. And it seems like people are kind of stacking up their longs and saying, as long as we stay above 66,000, I'm good. I want in the trade. But if we drop to 66,000, they're going to get taken out. So while I remain bullish, and even if the $66,000 level gets pulled back down to, I want to make sure people are aware that right now what we are seeing is that there is a possibility to move back towards 66,000. This is lower than a lot of the support levels that we have here more recently. It is back to the former level of resistance back here in late September, so that could be something very intriguing to play. But let's take back to the liquidation chart. Let's just see as we zoom out, is there anything longer term that we should be keeping an eye on? Let's start with 1 week. Again, 66 is going to be interesting. That liquidity kind of stays somewhat heated all the way until about 64.3, right? So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. If we go out even longer, let's go out all the way to a month and see if anything sticks out to the downside? Not really. I mean, you guys can see here, 64. After 64, it's a big gap before things get interesting. All the way down here at 58,700, there's a lot of liquidations on there, but that's from very successful longs that have stayed in, and those are longs that want to stay invested for a long time. It would take a lot of bearish momentum and pressure to come down and start to clear these up. But as you move to grander, like 6-month time frames where you're looking at liquidations, take a look. It's going to switch here. Now, all of a sudden, there's nothing bright and yellow. There's no excessive move for any trader to short the market. All the liquidity is sitting up above 70,000, but a lot of bright levels up here towards 72.3. This is what's continuing to make me bullish. Could we have some lower, shorter-term pullbacks? Could we even drop as low as back to 66,000? Absolutely, it's on the table. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It means it's on the table. After that, though, that makes beautiful longing possibilities because the Bitcoin market, the crypto markets, the charts as a whole, and the news is showing us massive money is flowing in to Bitcoin. We saw consecutive, I think it was up to 4 days of historically high numbers of inflows into Bitcoin spot ETFs. That means the institutions are buying. Well, we're also seeing historically low levels of holding Bitcoin on exchanges, centralized exchanges. That means the whales are buying and moving it off into their cold storages. And now we're also seeing, if you go over to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, while this is kind of telling us why we're cooling down today, the greed has has rallied up into 72. It's back in the greed for the first time in multiple months. What does that communicate? It communicates we're a little hot right now, right? A correction was needed just to cool off the extremely hot market. But heavy levels in the greed means that retail is buying. So if institutions are buying and the whales are buying and the retail are buying, guys, that's a good reason why everyone should be buying and reason why the bull market is about to heat up to crazy great levels. Let's pause right there, right? That's the chart. That's the chart you need to be aware of right now. Again, Bitcoin, long-term, up to the upside. Again, I think this week we're getting above 70K, but in the short term, cooling off is a normal part of what we have. We have a super chat here from Istophobic? I don't know what that means. What's that a phobia of, T-Shirt? Help me fact check me there. I don't want a healthy pullback. I want some healthy new all-time highs. Okay, that's good. Guess what? You don't buy when you hit new all-time highs. You buy when you have pullbacks. So if your bags are ready to go, if you have no more dry powder, if you're just ready for bull market, I completely understand. You just want to see the price go up. But if you still have dry powder, or if you're coming into some dry powder, you love these healthy pullbacks. You love these opportunities to buy again at slightly lower levels than maybe you were allowed to buy at yesterday because you still believe in that long-term upper trajectory of Bitcoin. But I feel you, Istophobic. T-Shirt, do you know what istophobic what is that? What's that a fear of?
I have no idea. Never even heard of that before.
Istophobic. All right, Justin Corita? Maybe Justin Corey TA. I don't know. It's all one word. Was wondering if you both felt any certain way about quantum resistant blockchains, or is this the narrative not as big as some think? Love the show. So, of course, what you're talking about here, Justin, is the blockchains that are looking to solve quantum physics, who can now hack computers, hack blockchains, hack things. There's effectively saying if quantum mechanics and everything are happening, there's no such thing as security anymore. You'd be able to hack anything. What I mean, that's the fear of it. I mean, I'm not an expert on the field, right? I'm not doing any studies in my free time on the field. But what I'm being told is that quantum computing and everything else could be a major threat to security. Go ahead, T-Shirt.
There you go. The last
expert in economy.
The last part of the statement was the most coherent, was the most true. Is that so? What is a quantum computer? Well, Tim mentioned quantum mechanics. Quantum computers are computers that are leveraging the scientific discoveries that are coming through the study of quantum mechanics, right? But quantum mechanics, quantum physics, those are not going to be. You don't need to know anything about that. All you need to know is that a quantum computer is actually stronger than every computer that's ever been made ever combined.
Right.
So that is a big threat to something like encryption technology, which is the backbone of blockchain technology. Without encryption, you don't have blockchain, and so you don't have Bitcoin, right? So there is a fear out there that there could be a quantum computer one day that could ultimately crack seed phrases for
Right.
Bitcoin wallets, right? And that would be a big problem. But that would be a big problem not just for Bitcoin. That would be a big problem for anything that is important and needs to be secure on the internet. The reality is that these quantum computers are being developed by the biggest corporations in the world, like Google. It's very unlikely that they're going to try to destroy the world with them, but they could. So there are projects that are trying to create quantum proof blockchains. I would say I invest in 0 of them, and you probably if you find one that you think is worth investing, bring it to the Discord, bring it to us. We'd love to take a look at it. So far, I've seen a lot of them, and it's just too early for that to be a real investment thesis. And therefore, a lot of the folks that are coming out with those projects, I'm going to just use the word, are scams, right? There are that are actual scams, and then there's a lot that are just, they're not scams, but they're way too early. And it's not worth
the best
investing
scam in the world plays on a fear, a phobia, an istophobia, if I might teach you. I don't know what that means. So yeah, with people being terrified that a quantum computer will be developed and then everything's at risk, you'd be very willing to invest in anything that claims to stop it because you're desperate at that point. You want to talk about scams? You know, some people, when they get so scared, they take vaccines for things because there's no other answer, and they're terrified if they don't take that vaccine, they might die. Well, that's the greatest ability to have some form of a scam. You play on people's fear. You get their hard-earned money, even though you have no ability to actually fix what they're afraid of. That's kind of where I'm at right now. If I see further development and people much smarter than me start to get really bullish on them, we'll let you know. Before I move on, there's a dips for buying came in chat. I forgot. I want to remind people of this. He said, got bored in work today. That's always good. You know, probably should find a different job. Got bored in work today and did up an Excel sheet for the top 50 from Saturday's show.
Cool.
Pretty cool. Mine is way different. Great. I love that dips for buying.
That's cool.
Tag us. So screenshot it. Tag us on X. Myself, T-Shroom, Crux, would love to see it. The rest of you would love to see your top 50s as well. If you have no idea what we're talking about right now, on Saturday, T-Shroom, Crux, and myself, the whole show is designated as to the future predictions for where coins will be ranked at the top of the bull market. We gave you our top 50, and we didn't go into depth on all 50 of the choices. We went in depth on a lot of them, though. If you want to watch it, go check it out. Great video, but I want to hear your thoughts as well. Those are simply our opinions. Doesn't mean it's factual. I gave the probability of our list being 100% right at a 0.00001%. Just not probably going to be it. But we have reasons as to why things are in certain places, and that, of course, affects where their market caps potentially could be at the end of this bull market, which gives us a good indication of just how bullish any project could be. So go create your own list, and then come back, tag us on X. Love to see some of your guys' top 50. T-Shirt, let's do just a little more TA. We're going to do some speed round TA, right? I've been trying to go slower recently, really break it down. We're going to do some really fast, really quick, amazing TA. Let's go in here and look at Adam. Starting off with Adam. It's been tearing to the recently. It was one of the biggest movers on the bubbles. Really quickly, let's try it out in here. We got ourselves a good old inverse head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You guys, if you've been watching our channel, if you've learned anything about TA, you take the depth of this head from the neckline, you move it over to the breakout spot. Adam almost hitting its price prediction breakout back up here to the highs we had in September, around $5.17. Taking a quick look here on the 4-hour chart from Lux Algo. We did get above our original take profit. We hit an order block. So cooling off back down here to our breaker block, this yellow line of support, is absolutely a very good and bullish thing for the price of Atom. I think it dips down here a little bit lower, gets closer towards this 476, that area, that yellow box as a whole. And then we'll have to regroup and see, can it continue to the upside? What we're seeing is we did get 100% overbought on that 4-hour chart. So again, this cool off is warranted. But as you start to look towards lower time frames, yeah, a little more. I think even the hourly chart is saying we can go down a little more, get down into this smart trail, like I said, down in the 470 range. But you're already seeing these shorter time frames cooling off, regrouping for a second rally. Atom, when you zoom out to a longer term projection, is looking like it wants to hit back up into these levels. Next spot to keep an eye on, the highs we had in August, back up here at 583. So keep an eye on that. There's your Atom quick and fast technical analysis. Let's take a quick look at Ondo. Ondo had a nice cool off here today after, guess what? We talked about this the other day, rejecting at that smart trail. Now, it rejected on lower bands, so it didn't get quite as high as maybe I thought it would. That being said, still sustaining long-term moves to the upside. We've got some targets for our trading community around $1 and $1.30 for multiple weeks, right? This isn't a play out that I think is going to happen by the end of the night. But, if we start to get going on Bitcoin, maybe $1 by later this weekend, maybe early next week, over the next couple of weeks post-election, maybe back up at $1.30. Let's see what our oscillators are kind of saying to us right now. The money flow is kind of boring and sideways, so once that money flow starts to creep back in, that's when things really should be heating up. We are cooling off today, had ourselves a nice sell signal here yesterday that's still in effect on our 4-hour chart. I do believe we're going to come down into this smart trail, into this breaker block, around 74.5 cents, give or take, somewhere in that range. 74.5, 75. That's going to be our range to pull back for here on Ondo before we actually get that pump to the upside. But those longer time frames still looking very good. Last one I want to take a look at, JASMY. Haven't done JASMY TA here in a little minute. That being said, there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about the price action going on here. The first thing, it went lower than we suspected. We drew this. I got to get rid of that. That's just a messy little chart right there. We technically still have an inverse head and shoulders pattern here. Not a clean looking one, not a beautiful looking one, but you do have a left shoulder right here ahead, and that right shoulder drooped, but is still a higher low than the head. So this would still count. Our neckline, of course, is way up here. Longer term, JASMY has a price prediction. Now, this would probably be an end of year type of level, back up at 3.7 cents. Right now, it's regrouping, coming back down, turning former resistance into support. Let's check out what these shorter time frames are saying to us in the way of potentially strength of the oscillators. Got to let it load here for a second. There we go. Yeah, neutral. Neutral right now. Negative money flow, but positive oscillator action. No strong sell or buy signals at the moment on that 4-hour chart. Maybe the 1-hour chart's going to tell us something different. Not a lot going on there. I guess we're going to stick to more of the daily chart is what we're going to take a look at here for JASMY. Want to finish with this, then we'll come out. Recent buy signal coming in back over here. Not really. We're waiting on that money flow. Money flow coming positive would give us a positive trigger for a buy signal. After, again, we've turned now resistance into support. This would be a beautiful thing. We have green reversals. We have bullish momentum. We just need that money flow to go positive. The MACD is positive. The RSI is positive. We're waiting on a lot of longer time frames things. Levels keep an eye on in the short term. Just a rebound back up to the smart trail. We're looking back up here above 2.4 cents is going to be a nice target in that smart trail to look for the next resistance. But logging up to that level is going to be a beautiful thing. If you want a good trade setup for that, that's something potentially I'll take a look at tomorrow morning with our VIP trading group, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will live trade and give you guys setups for what these charts should look like and where you can enter, where you need to set your stop loss, where you need to hit your take profit. That's going to wrap up my quick and fast technical analysis. Before we move on, I want to let people know, anyone who's in our community already, you guys have seen and watched Rufio, one of our pro traders. He is going to start, I believe, starting next week, going to start doing some live trading himself. That's one of the most awesome things about our community. It's not just myself and T-Shroom and Crux. We got other people behind the scenes who are great traders, great investors, always here to lend a helping hand to help you get going on your investing journey. Check out our different membership options to start learning more about trading, technical analysis, and investing today. All of that in the link down below. There it is, T-Shroom. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm going to relax for a second. People are going to smash the like. They're going to hit subscribe. And you are going to break us into the news for today. Take it away, T-Shroom.
Absolutely, Tim. Let's go ahead and start where we have been starting so often, and that is with Elon Musk. Elon offers $1 million a day to entice swing state voters to sign the petition. Speaking at an American PAC event in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Musk said, "I have a surprise for you," adding that the prize money is available every day from now until the election. Now, in this article are ways that you right now listening could win money. Depends where you are, but look at this. I think this is kind of fun, and it seems like a good use of money, basically, said the Tesla CEO, who is worth almost $250 billion. So lots of fun to be had there indeed.
Mhm.
How Pennsylvania goes, he says, is how the election goes, according to Musk. The deadline to sign the petition is Monday night, which is the day Pennsylvania's voter registration closes. The petition posted on the America PAC website said that to be eligible for payment, signees must be registered voters of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, or Wisconsin. So that is how you get it going there. Moving along, we're not going to get too far from Elon. We've got a clip from him. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen.
I'm actually not actively involved in crypto.
Oh no. Okay. Well,
so
Dogecoin. All
I make Dogecoin jokes and stuff because I kind of like Dogecoin because it's got the best sense of humor and it has dogs and memes and I love all those things.
There you go.
So
There you go. And Altcoin Daily calling this a distancing from Dogecoin, a distancing from crypto in general, perhaps. Now, there's a couple of ways to kind of break this down and digest this. Make no mistake, in previous cycles, Elon Musk has been responsible for some pretty significant sell-offs in Bitcoin. Most notably in 2021, he said that Bitcoin was bad for essentially carbon emissions and kind of the climate, and that did send the price of Bitcoin down quite a bit because his companies are big holders of Bitcoin. So, Tim, do you think that this is going to have a bearish effect? Do you think that this stalls our breakthrough up through 70K, or what do you think is going to happen?
Bearish is the wrong term because bearish wouldn't say that what he said is going to cause a massive sell-off. I don't think that the level of buying that happened in the Doge pump the other day is over dramatic and is going to kind of tail off and get bearish. I think what happened ultimately with we covered here on the channel, he said the words "yeah, Doge," right? That's what happened on a clip we played last week. Yeah, Doge. Mm-hmm. We here on the Investing Bros channel told you guys, hey, this could be something that's interesting, but the reality is more than likely that was a coincidence. He's just kind of letting something slip out of humor, but there's no real sustainability to a long term. Real quick, T-Shirt, am I still live on your end? My computer is acting up for sure. Yep. All right, something on my end is glitching. It looks like I was delayed. All right, we're back. As a whole, this is what we projected. This is what we predicted, that it was nothing. What he's doing here is he's not fully distancing himself from crypto. He's just confirming I have no relationship officially with Dogecoin. I don't think there's any plans in the works at the moment of integrating Doge into X. Doesn't mean there can't be in the future. I see some people saying they didn't hear the clip. He pretty much just said, I'm not working actively with any crypto whatsoever. I just like Doge because I think it's funny. It promotes dogs. I like dogs. That's the gist of what he said. If you didn't hear the clip for some reason, if it didn't play through, our apologies. But that's what he said. But that phrase right there, T-Shroom, he said, I'm not working on crypto, or I'm not involved in crypto actively. Is that just a coincidence of his choice of words? Is that just how he chose to phrase it right there? Or is he kind of saying, I'm going to be? I do have plans to be involved in crypto. I don't know how you'd be in the world that Elon Musk is in and watch this emerging industry of blockchain technology and not dabble in it eventually in a high level. I mean, we all know that his companies own Bitcoin. We know that he likes Dogecoin. We've heard him mention other coins in passing, but he has no official affiliation. Those days are numbered. At some point, he is going to, with X and the rest of his companies, be heavily involved with a blockchain. The question is that Dogecoin or is it something else? That's why Doge is going to have to cool off. People are going to get a little less excited about it. I still think Dogecoin goes above $1 in this bull market, but this is something that some Doge maxis are going to be disappointed in hearing.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful when you're kind of reaching the higher profile on the political side. Up until now, Elon has been the definition of what it means to be in the Wild West in 2024, right? And going back. And so he has to be careful now because he's kind of putting his hat much more into the field of politics. And in an election where one of the candidates is seen as very heavily non-establishment, that can be a big threat to the establishment. And the establishment is what? going to be able to do things and use their power against forces that are coming against them, like Elon. So he has to be careful. It's like, I don't think he's anti-crypto. I don't think he's anti-Dogecoin. I think what he's doing is just trying to limit any kind of political liabilities that could bring him down. And I think I saw another headline today that he's being sued from a different angle. And it seems like every single day the Trump team, somebody on their team is being sued about something through lawfare. But we talk a lot about politics here. We're moving into November the 5th. We're going to be talking about it. And then even after that, we're going to be talking about the implications of and outcomes of potential policy. If it's too spicy for you, we understand. To be honest with you, we don't talk politics almost at all in the Discord, so that's a good place too. But
I say what you even said. You said we talk about politics a lot. We only talk about politics when politics are the biggest impact on the markets. Right. I cannot wait, and it's not going to be the day it happens. Like, we're going to talk about probably the election and the implications of the elections for a couple of weeks post the actual election being approved. But I can't wait to get back into a long period where politics are not the main focus. Unfortunately, though, if you want to invest correctly and you want to follow the news and the biggest impacts for the last couple of months and for the next couple of weeks, the political realm is going to be the biggest impact on crypto and stock prices. Therefore, as an investment channel, we have to discuss them. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do for you or with you. If you want to come back in a couple of weeks, be my guest. But for those who want to make money and want to be involved, I would suggest continuing to tune in every single day as we navigate these political markets and the ups and downs volatility of the markets as a whole. T-shirt, it's 3:30. I know we have some other things we're going to talk about, still stay in the political world, but let's go ahead and transition here from Elon. There's some other people talking pretty extensively about their opinions in the election that have an impact on crypto as well. Let's get into some of those.
That's right. So right now, the spread is 61% to 38% on Polymarket, and this is kind of a little bit troubling to Democrats or folks who want Kamala Harris to win on November 5th. Well, this is a voice of one of those people who want Kamala Harris to win, but he does have some issues with it. That's Mark Cuban. Let's take a look and listen to this soundbite here.
About the possibility of taxing unrealized capital gains. Yeah. You said if you really thought that the vice president would do that you'd campaign against her. So I guess that was a true comment you made. And then my follow-up
So what
question,
I said was, I said it's not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen. If for some reason she lied about it, I would campaign against her so there wouldn't be a second term.
Okay. Then what I was going to ask you is, and I'm not going to go through. These are there's 20 things, but I'll just pick out a couple that I think would be really scary. If she were to try to abolish the filibuster, if you knew she was going to do that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Next.
And then how about free health care for all?
She doesn't talk about that. So here's exactly what she's talking about with health care.
But there were some things she has said. I can pick out probably 10 things where
Joe, I can go back to an interview.
You would say, yeah, I'd campaign against her. So what do you like?
What a terrible place for that to go away. I wanted to hear the rest of that. Here's what I'll say. There's a couple things that I have takeaways from this T-Shroom. Maybe we'll go back and forth. I saw someone even put it here in chat. Do I agree with Mark Cuban on a lot of things? No, I don't. I think I disagree with him on a lot of different areas of life, not even just politics. Probably business practices, probably how he handles relationships. I bet you me and him are very different on a lot of different levels. I definitely disagree with him on who he's choosing to endorse for president. That being said, I don't think the man is an idiot. I want to make that's very clear. I don't think the man is an idiot. And I'm just going to be brutally honest here, T-Shirt. And I don't want to offend anybody in chat here, but I want to say something very strong that's going to probably hurt some of your feelings or challenge you to think differently. You know what's one of the things I hate the most, T-Shirt, in this political landscape is when, and I see this way more on the left, but the right's doing it here as well. There's a thought that gets put on the table by some figure, more often not the mainstream media, and then everyone echoes it, right? So when you watch these different things, the debate between Trump and Biden, The whole thing was everyone on the left, because Biden did not perform well. I mean, he was barely there at the debate. But everyone was just like, well, we all know Trump lied about everything. And you saw that on every single mainstream left-leaning news source. Oh, he lied about everything. Oh, he lied about everything. Oh, he lied about everything. Oh, he lied about it. They never told you what he lied about. They just used the phrase, he lied about everything. Then you move over into, I think, the debate with Kamala, when he first endorsed, or when he chose J.D. Vance. Remember, the whole expression was, oh, he's weird. He's weird. Everywhere you went, if it was a left-leaning news site, it was, oh, J.D. Vance, he's weird. What am I getting at? You choose one thing, and then they brainwash everyone in their same line of thinking to make the exact same argument and spread it in a very propaganda-like style movement to sway people's opinions. All right, I hate that. I hate that 100%. Come up with your own thoughts as why you like or dislike somebody. But I'm going to speak to people on the right here, and this is why I'm going to offend some of you. This concept of the joke or the meme that he's a lesbian, right? This is just ridiculous. This is stupid. Let's pretend that Mark Cuban identified as a lesbian, and you're not even insulting him. What does that have to do with his actual points or arguments? What does that have to do with who he's actually electing? Why do we insult people on issues when we want to argue with someone? Why don't we argue with their policies or their arguments or their statements? Why do we belittle them and call them names? And then in this whole one mind trust thing, start telling everybody else to start doing the exact same thing. I'm just being very real with you. Like, I've watched here as a conservative person who is voting Donald Trump, who disagrees with Mark Cuban, who disagrees with Kamala Harris, who disagrees with Tim Walz. When I see these things, it's like, oh, Tim Walz wants to put no, I guess that's policy when he does, but Tim Walz was in a frat in college and did some gross things. What does what he did in frats have to do with his policy? Let's talk about the policies he's enacted in Minnesota. Let's talk about what his plans are for the future. Let's not talk, I mean, even the Kamala Harris thing, when people talk about her past, and I'm not going to get into it, what does what she did as a young woman, moral or not moral, have to do with what she's going to do as president? It's not like Donald Trump is the most moral, upright individual we've ever seen. We're not voting for his character. We're not voting for his names. We're not voting for his flaws. We're voting for the policies he's going to enact. And when we critique people who give their opinions on the political mark, why are we making fun of names that have nothing to do with what they're representing, what the policies will look like, what the country's going to look like? Like, to me, calling him a lesbian and making fun of how he looks like a lesbian, it makes conservatives or anyone who is pro-Trump look like an uneducated, unthoughtful, dumb person. And I told you I'm going to insult you guys. It's the dumbest argument in the world to say, oh, he looks like a lesbian, so we shouldn't listen to him. No, listen to what he has to say, break it down, and understand what his argument is, and then let's talk about that. Let's not talk about his looks or his appearance. Let's talk about his thoughts. That is something that I really want to encourage all of you guys, because I was, again, very forward there. I encourage you to think the same way. I encourage you, if you have participated in that backroom dumb slander, to be a man or woman who grown up and said, you know what? Yeah, Tim's right. I shouldn't have done that. You know what? I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to stop perpetuating this stupid movement that our American culture goes after, where we make fun of people not going into their discussion and policies. We just try to belittle people and bully them into sounding like they're wrong. Let's change that. Let's stop that. That's just absolutely ludicrous. I have more thoughts on this clip here, T-Shirt. There's my little rant of the day. What are your thoughts about that so far? If you have any other thoughts, and I'll come back and I'll say a little more about what actually was said in the clip.
Mm-hmm. So if you look back at Mark Cuban's career, it's one of the most admirable, and he has made some insanely good trades when it comes to some of the software companies he's developed. They go through it at length on this recent podcast, the All In podcast, episode 198. I recommend, if you like to think of yourself as a politically minded person, politically educated, this is a really good podcast, because you have Mark Cuban on a what would be considered a pretty conservative podcast these days. So yeah, I would say go listen to that. They detail his business past, and it's very clear that he's an extremely highly intelligent person when it comes to business, and when it comes to, you could assume, everything else in his life, right? I think that there's something going on here, and for some reason, there's not an incentive for Mark Cuban to be completely clear about why he's backing Kamala Harris. But I think the most obvious conclusion, most obvious speculation would be is that nobody else is, right? Nobody else of his ilk, of the billionaires, are doing this. So take the under, right? What do you have to lose? I think that the thing is that Mark Cuban has a lot of social capital built up with people like us who are audiences of his television shows and users of his products and services, but also with other billionaires. He's just a really easygoing guy. He's very easy to get along with, as you can tell. So I think he's spending some social capital here to try to have his chips on the table in case there is an upset and Kamala wins. So I don't know that it has to be more complicated than that. Maybe it is, but that's ultimately what I think's going on here. And the Democrats are very happy to have him come on and give his endorsement. We got some more headlines here, but Tim, what's your reaction?
I want to, because the majority of my first take was mostly just about the comment of people saying he's a lesbian, right? I just think it's very stupid and silly to speak those arguments.
Silly.
But I'll tell you what happened in the clip, and it kind of made me think about here, T-Shroom. So, because again, I want to make sure it's clear. Do I disagree with Mark Cuban on most things, not only politically but in life? Yes, absolutely. But something that he kind of gets into here, he's very smart, and he knows it. I'm kind of surprised he's saying it out loud on mainstream media. He pretty much just told us, guys, don't worry. Kamala's not going to do anything that she's actually running on. She's not going to increase taxes for the rich. Like, he didn't say that, but let's just be honest. Who's giving her money? Who's donating money to the Democratic Party so that she wins presidency? It's a bunch of rich people. It's a bunch of business owners.
Yep.
That's a tale as old as time. I'm only 30 years old, and I know that whenever Democrats say they're going to raise the taxes on the rich, they're ultimately going to just use that to get votes and then not do anything. And then here's what they do, T-Shirt. They blame it on the Congress, who more often than not, when there's a heavy liberal or Democratic president, we somehow seem to always have a conservative Congress, which works out to their benefit because then they can run on all these campaigns. They can say, oh, we're running on this. And then when it doesn't happen, say, oh, well, we tried, but Congress blocked it. What he's kind of getting at here is he's saying, she's not going to increase the taxes for unrealized. She's not going to give us taxes for unrealized profits. She's not going to increase taxes on the wealthy. She's not going to. I think there's a couple of things he said, but he's pretty much saying, oh yeah, all those big talking points she said recently. Yeah, she's not going to do those things, and that's why I'm supporting her. And it's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess if that's the case, that would be a good example as to why he should support her. I mean, he's made it very public. Trump and him don't get along. He tried to work with Trump during Trump's presidency. Trump really didn't want anything to do with him. He's changed sides like a lot of other people have that didn't get along well with Trump. And they realize that they can support Kamala. They can allow her to say whatever she wants to say on the campaign trail. But ultimately, if you have money, if you have power, you can control anything that she does. It's one of the reasons why also Donald Trump is so dangerous to the rest of the world. It's because you can dislike his personality, you can dislike his morals, and all, you can do all that stuff. But no one can make an argument that Donald Trump is controllable. He's one of the few politicians we have in the world that is not controllable to a certain point. And that's because he was already a multi-billionaire when he decided to run for office. But we're hearing a lot here from Mark Cuban about how politics works, whether he thinks he's saying it or not. What he's ultimately saying is, yeah, everyone's right. She is a liar. She's lying about every single policy that she's presenting. She's not going to do any of it. And if she does, I'll campaign against her. And she can't have that. She can't have all of her big donors and supporters campaigning against her in the next election. She's not going to do anything that she is saying she's going to do. And what is my biggest takeaway from all this? I said it in the intro. No matter who wins, even though I think Donald Trump's going to win, and even though I think there's a lot of areas where Donald Trump would be the better president of the United States for a plethora of reasons, no matter what happens, even if Kamala Harris wins presidency, there will be things that are still favorable for long-term crypto investing. In fact, while I've said in the short term, meaning the next year and a half, I think that Donald Trump is a better president than Kamala Harris, in the longer term, T-Shroom, I'll be very honest with you, a Kamala Harris presidency and terrible handling of economics and terrible spending could potentially lead to a further hyperinflation of the dollar, which is terrible. But what happens if the dollar gets hyperinflated? Cryptocurrency prices, especially Bitcoin, will skyrocket because people will look to move their wealth from that very fragile, dying US dollar into Bitcoin. So there's also a scenario, T-Shroom, where a Kamala Harris presidency actually makes your Bitcoin holdings even more valuable than if Donald Trump was the president. That being said, I still I still believe that President Trump will win. I still think he should. I think that people should vote for him. But those are my big takeaways after listening here to Mark Cuban. I thought it was a great little. Again, I want to see the rest of it. I want to see the rest of how that conversation goes because it looked like it was heating up. It was going to get really good, and then the clip cut off. But
yeah, no, it's always an interesting twist and turns whenever a country that's united is forced to make a binary choice, right? And sometimes it's surprising which sides are taken by who. For me, it's pretty simple, right? I think Bitcoin is going to go up a lot more if Donald Trump is elected. That's kind of what's motivating me this cycle for sure. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the issues, and the reality of it is it's not so much like what we want that is what's going to happen based on how you vote, right? You have to do a lot more, and that's why billionaires like Donald Trump, like Mark Cuban, like Elon Musk, they play these games at these high levels because they actually know they have an influence on outcomes. You and I, we have to. If you're an American, you have to exercise your right to vote because that is really, really important, especially for the extreme times, which I don't think we're in a very extreme time now. Talking about like the Civil War, the American Revolution, extreme times. You have the right to vote. It's very, very important. It's what's keeping blades from your neck, right? But in these times, it's really incremental. And anyway, but overall. We are seeing a result starting to form. We haven't even gotten close to. We're not even a week. We're much more than a week away. So this isn't the final conclusion here, but this is how it stands right now. It will be a Donald Trump victory according to Vegas, according to the betting markets. But let's get into some crypto news here. SEC approves the New York Stock Exchange options trading on spot Bitcoin ETFs. They do it there and for the CBOE. Just a note, and then right back into politics we go. Right, Ripple co-founder Chris Larson says he is donating $10 million in XRP to Kamala Harris, and this one's a bit of a head scratcher as well. But my take right off the bat is that it's not any different from I think the same thing with Mark Cuban is why not? Nobody else is doing it. If you win, you're seen as a genius. If you lose, you lost $10 million. Right, and to $10 million to these billionaires is not right. It's not that much. Elon giving $1 million a day, right? So that's kind of my initial take here. Tim, do you think that there's anything deeper going on here with Ripple Labs and Chris Larson?
I honestly have no idea why XRP and Ripple would, unless they know something we don't know, Tishan. Why are they supporting her? Because there's rumors, and we haven't heard these rumors are false yet, at least. That a Kamala Harris presidency would promote Gary Gensler, Ripple's number one enemy out there, the guy that has single-handedly kept them from rallying for the last 4 years. She would promote him to an even higher office in the government, Secretary of Treasury. Why Ripple would want to support her knowing that she and Gary are kind of in the same bed together? I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The more direct takeaway here, T-Shroom, is it doesn't really matter where. Some people are going to try to say, what's that $10 million of XRP coming from? It doesn't matter. Let's pretend it's his personal $10 million of XRP. I would assume he's not planning on liquidating that XRP anytime. But him donating it to her, to use, she's going to liquidate it. Like, if I'm donating crypto and funds, I'm going to liquidate it. So there's a lot of XRP holders out there right now saying, well, there we go. There's even more. There's 10 million more dollars of selling pressure on an already bleeding market that can't seem to catch a break at any moment. This is just, again, I'm not going to make fun of Chris Larson's look or his name or anything because I can't think of a joke for it anyway. I'm just going to talk about the decision he's made, the movements he's making. This makes no sense from so many different areas why someone from Ripple why Ripple in general would go all out in supporting Kamala Harris. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's not a good look for them. It doesn't help them from a business standpoint. So there's got to be something behind closed doors that you and I don't know about, T-Shroom, that would make all this make sense, because I still, like them or hate them, they created one of at the moment, the 7th most wealthy cryptocurrency in the world. They're not idiots. They're smart people. So why they're doing this, I'd love to find out why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. Yeah. That's an interesting one. I would say it doesn't bode well for XRP because it kind of seems like a last ditch effort for something to happen here for XRP, for Ripple Labs. Again, I think that there's definitely a chance that I could be wrong, right? But just kind of watching the last 3-4 months of the way that Ripple Labs and XRP are communicating with the investment class, it doesn't look good. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Now, maybe they're playing some really good manipulation games, right? And they're trying to get everybody to sell out of XRP so that they can accumulate. That's a possibility. But what is a high probability is that people are loving Bitcoin, right? And we can tell that because of these record inflows. This is a candlesticks that we have height that we have not seen since all the way back in March. Very, very explosive movement here. You've seen it on the charts, and this is why. It's because those ETFs are getting pumped, and it is now, what is this, the 6th consecutive day of inflows, and it's only measuring business days. So this is very, very good. And I'm excited. This is very bullish. We've also got some more stories here. Payment company Stripe has bought a stablecoin platform, Bridge, for $1.1 billion. This is the biggest acquisition in crypto so far. We've seen PayPal come out with a stablecoin. We've seen we've also seen Coinbase come out with a stablecoin as well. I believe I'm pretty sure. And now we're seeing Stripe. Stripe is TradFi. So it's kind of coming from behind. So is PayPal, but I would make the argument, other than crypto, PayPal is a pretty cutting edge technology, and so is Stripe. So this one's pretty big. Could be big for adoption. Tim, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, more adoption, especially for stable coins. And we talked about that on our top 50, how stable coins are going to do very well in the bull market, despite the fact that some people think they won't. But as stable coins do well, so will the rest of the crypto space. Getting people into the blockchain and having that ability to quickly transact between a stable coin and any cryptocurrency, it is the future of, let's just talk about it. It's the future of banking, T-Shroom. Like, banks are needing to get all on board because it is just too simple and easy right now, T-Shroom, for me to say, why do I need my account down at Bank of America? Why do I need my account down at JP Morgan and what Chase? Why don't I just bank myself and keep transacting between stable coins and then assets that aren't being diminished every single year? They're actually increasing on average. This is the future, especially how wealthy people are thinking. Banks are going to get on board to start custodying your crypto because the emergence of stable coins is a beautiful thing that's going to help get rid of that physical dollar and the need for a physical bank anymore.
Yep, and the governments love it, right? The governments love it because or at least the United States government, because it's literally exporting the dominance of the dollar, and it's really interesting. Tim, this is time now for us to transition into our factoid of the day. This is going to be a pretty fun one here. Let's go ahead and jump on into it. Let us know though. Today it's not the factoid's not brought to you by anybody in specific, but we do want to know because we're thinking about working with a health insurance provider. Would you be interested in purchasing health insurance? You have to be an American to purchase health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. We've been approached by a legitimate broker of this, and so we want to talk. We're in talks with them. But we just want to make sure that there's people out there who would be interested in it instead of wasting you all's time by promoting it. So let us know. Drop a W in chat if you are interested, if you've thought about it, if you are on the fence. And let us know.
Whether you own your own business, whether you just don't have insurance to your company, if you need cheap insurance, or you currently have insurance but you hate the prices and you're looking for it to get cheaper, just let us know if you're even interested in hearing more about a broker who's going to be able to offer you the best levels of insurance you can get. That being said, T-Shirt, maybe it's time for the Factoid today, and then we'll kind of wrap up with some Q&A here. The show, we ended up going longer than I thought. Again, like we always do.
Of course.
We always seem to think, oh, we don't have a lot going on today, and then the show gets to the end, and it's like, okay, whatever. All right, let's go into it. What's our Factoid today?
We're a couple of chatty Cathys, Tim.
All
right, let's go ahead and jump on in here. Which airline is credited with inventing the frequent flyer program? Is it A, Delta, B, American Airlines, C, United, or is it D, Southwest Airlines? Tim, what is your answer?
That's a good question.
It is a good
very good question. Honestly, I mean, I'm trying to think of like giving a logical answer, but I logically see any of the four of them being the ones that started it. Here's what I'm gonna do. I don't know the answer to the question whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Atlanta, home of Delta. Let's just go with the hometown. I don't know if this is right or not. Let's go A, Delta Airlines for Atlanta.
All right, he's locking it in, folks. Let us know what you think.
Looks like chat's saying B. And chat was right. Okay, well, tragic.
Bruh.
Tragic. Yeah, but I don't get to look at chat anymore. So, unfortunately, while you guys all seem to know the answer, I'm surprised. I mean, is that a wide known factoid? I mean, I never heard that.
I don't know if it's widely known or not, Tim.
Oh, well.
I just know so many things. It's hard for me to know what other people know. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm being silly.
That's being engaged in chat. Either it was starting the week off 0 for 1, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do better tomorrow. A couple things in chat I saw. Check it out. Says they can talk politics but avoid Trump coin. I'm not going to talk about Trump coin because I don't really have an opinion of it. Of it being. Here's the thing. I'm going to talk about politics to affect the coins that people should be investing in. I don't know enough about Trump coin to say if you should or not be investing. I believe from what I've heard, need to probably do more research on it. There's a long lockup period. That traditionally is not my favorite form of investments. So it's not an issue of avoiding Trump coin in the sense of saying like we refuse to talk about it. It's more like saying we try to talk mostly about what we perceive to be really good investment opportunities. So why would we talk a lot about Trump coin? I don't know if that's a very good investment opportunity. And so doesn't really fit the bill of what we discussed. Yeah. I saw earlier someone said, what are your thoughts about Bitcoin dominance falling 3%? Don't know what that is referencing. Bitcoin, after touching 59%, is only down at 58.4 pretty much. Told you guys I thought that it would fall back a little bit. Still heading up towards 60% in my personal opinion. I think that once we see a big move on Bitcoin, new all-time highs, probably sitting in the realm of 80 to 85K would be my best guess. But that's when I'm going to start probably seriously looking at, all right, whether we got to 60 or we're over 60, after that big initial move is when I'm going to say, okay, let's now start to look for a reversal and an alt season to happen. So we'll keep you posted on that. Other Q&A we have here. Let's see. T-Shroom and Timbo. There's some turd Ferguson, by the way. Have you ever heard of Seam protocol? Why isn't it taking off like other base coins like Moonwell and Aerodrome? Is Moonwell taking? I mean, we looked at Moonwell pretty in depth last week. I know it has a bullish chart, but I wouldn't say it's taking off necessarily. I feel like I've heard of Seam, but I don't think I've done any type of actual digging into it. T-Shroom, is that one you've researched and heard of before?
Nope. I have not heard of that one at all.
Yeah. Trizzle said XRP may have won the suit but died in crypto. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that completely, Trizzle, but yeah, it's definitely a disappointing chart. XRP holders are getting very upset, and I understand why. But I would just say, and I've said this a lot, I'll say it again. Are certain altcoins pumping right now? Yes. And are those ones to take a legitimate look at and say these are special coins? Absolutely. I don't want to take away and say that, if they're pumping now, they're terrible. But I think it's a mistake at this point in the market to say, well, XRP or Cardano or Chainlink or any of these coins to say, they're not pumping right now, so that means they're completely dead. It's not a part of the cycle that they should be pumping. If they hadn't pumped at all back in October when there was a just easy, great way to pump, I would have questions about a coin that didn't have a good October and November of 2023.
Right.
Let's reconvene sometime mid to late January. If an altcoin is not picking up steam during alt season, which I still believe is going to be sometime late December, early January, if there's an altcoin falling behind, that's when I should start. That's why I think we should start to say, all right, is this coin missing the boat? Is this just no real adoption and desire for this project? It's too soon to declare any cryptocurrency is dead at the moment unless they've had some massive scam come out. Their wallets are being depleted. People are dumping it like it's, lava. Like, I don't see that in a lot of these coins. So when people are going to hate on XRP and say it's dead, it's dead, it's dead. Is it doing well right now? No, I'm not going to praise it and say it's the greatest coin on the planet. But I am going to say it's not the right time yet to judge altcoins. That time is coming up in just a couple of months. We absolutely in January, we'll do a lot of altcoin analysis and let you guys know which ones we like, which ones still have a future, and which ones appear to be dead. But until that time, anything's still possible.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I think CryptoGeo says Algo is dead. Listen, I'm not the biggest Algo fan in the world, but again, too soon to call it dead. That's going to wrap up today's show. Go ahead on your way out, everybody, to go ahead and smash that like button. And as we wrap it up, I've been ending these 3 p.m. live shows now with kind of a real big implication of what T. Shroom and I want this channel to be. Do we want to talk about crypto? Yes. Do we want to talk about investing? Yes. Do we want to see each and every single last one of you create financial freedom and change your life and the lives of your families forever? 1,000%. But if we don't also improve who we are as men and women, as human beings, if we only increase our riches but not our character, we'll lose a lot. We'll lose a lot in this world, and we'll continue to make it a place that we're all striving to get away from. And I've honestly, guys, for today, I feel like I've already given my riff. I've already given my thought of the day. I did it in the middle of the show talking about politics. For anyone who just joined, though, let's be the type of people who don't belittle people. Don't be the person that makes arguments based off of something that has nothing to do with the actual point. Let's debate thoughts. Let's debate with respect. Let's debate policies. But to make fun of somebody, to belittle them for what they look like or what they act like and not what they actually do, is a lot like being a high school bully who's never going to go anywhere in life. Let's be the type of people who respect others, who actually look forward to conversations with someone who does not share our personal opinions. Because if you surround yourself with people that only agree with you, you will not grow as a person. You will not grow in intelligence. You will not grow in understanding. It's only when you challenge yourself and surround yourself with voices and opinions that differ from yours that you can actually really discover what truth is and grow as an individual. I pray for all of you guys that if you are that type of person who belittles people for what they look like or things that have nothing to do with the real arguments, I pray that you would change. I pray that you would see this as a wake-up call and be like, you know what? That's absolutely right. I don't want to become the very thing that I disdain, and that is the people that create chaos in this world. Let's make the world a better place. Let's love each other. Let's care for each other. Let's debate each other. That being said, that's all we got for you in this show. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Go Bitcoin. Adios.